Oh yeah. Got coffee face. uh, yeah. There's this certain concept that it's in that movie Enter the Dragon with Bruce Lee, and he's talking about it's the art of fighting without fighting. This dude's like, let me get a sample of your kung fu there, then I want to see this. And he goes, man, we can't fight here on the boat. And he says, here, we got to go row over to that island. And then this dude is so eager to fight that he goes and jumps in the boat. And then the dude, Bruce Lee, lets out the cord. And now the dude's got to sit in this little canoe behind the boat. I mean, and that's how he demonstrates his kung fu. I mean, and that's really how everything is. That's real talk. That's he used it was subtle in his force. You know, it was like he used force without using force. The other dude used his own force, and this dude just let him basically. Uh, and it's like when you become a martial artist for a while, you'll start to see things like this. Like you watch boxers, and they just throw all this energy at each other, and they move out of the way, absorb it, try to deflect it. But you start to look at a person like how they're wasting energy, and then you'd be like, how can I use that wasted energy? How can I turn that on them somehow? And you start to recognize ways you can do this. It's the same thing that works when someone's being verbally aggressive or trying to bait you into some things. It's like what it is. It's like if a person comes coming at you, like let's say football. Let's use this as an instance. When a guy goes to tackle a person, and this guy's coming at you full speed, and the dude's running to the side, so the dude's got to compensate and jump ahead of him. And the guy running stops at the last second, and then this guy is in full tackle mode, and then he falls down and rolls and hurts himself because he was so full tilt going to hit the guy. The guy recognizes it, and just by his mere stopping, all his energy got turned on himself. I mean, this is how all the same stuff works. It's like, look, it's not by being forceful. Let's say to use verbal violence against verbal violence, or verbal nastiness against verbal nastiness. That would be like, instead of the guy stopping and letting the other guy fall down, it'd be like him coming at him full force as well, and meeting him equally or with greater force. And them two hitting each other, that's going to cause a lot of pain and damage for both parties. So that's why it's better to seek out the art of fighting without fighting. Because I mean, even in the same, even there's the guy running also. This would have been using force on top of his force. If he would have jumped and stepped on his back, and then just kept running, that would be like even adding more your own force onto his force as he was going down. For instance, this is just examples of how this works. And it's the same thing, like, all right, if you're having a conversation with someone and all of a sudden they start getting all crazy, yelling, all insane, like just straight overboard, just coming at you, pedal to the pedal to the metal. That's when you get calm, and then you gotta be like real nice. And because a lot of people that are used to using this tactic right here, what that tactic is to, it's a challenge for you to start responding with equal force, so that it'll justify their actions. Because now it's like, all right, I went out on a limb. Now I need you to buy into my con act. And the fact that they realize, oh shit, they didn't take the bait. Now they're in the position of being exposed. So now they have to go even harder to commit to the con, to get you to buy into it by acting the same way that they acted to you. And that's the art of, that's force versus force type situations. But there's a way to, and it's like this. The worst thing you can do is feed in, is buy stock in this, in this stock that's gonna crash basically. Here, buy some stock in this, and then it's gonna crash, basically. But no, don't take the bait. Don't get greedy. Don't go in for the kill. It's like jujitsu, where a person goes down, lays on the ground, and wants you to come down there and wrestle with them. So they look all weak, like they're down, but when you go down to finish them off, that's when they grab you and try to choke you to death. These situations all apply in even verbal confrontation, just conversational confrontation, conspiracy confrontation, political confrontation. You got to know how to bring it down, not increase it. Right now, that's what they want you to do. They want you to add to the turmoil, to the chaos. They want you to get crazy, lose your mind, call for crazy actions. Because listen, remember, the game is the Hegelian dialectic: problem, reaction, solution. You create the problem, introduce the solution, and then the people's reaction was demand the solution, which justifies the measure they took in the first place to con these things into place. You have to commit to the con before the con works. Remember that. This is our defense against being conned. You have to commit to the con before it can work. Remember, at any time you can disengage. Sometimes this is the best tactic ever. Disengage. And if the person is going to try to run after you and keep you going, now you have to evasively disengage. That is not non-action. That is taking a accurate response to the situation. I sense danger. I'm going to run. I'm not going to run. I'm going to try to walk away. Then, when I get around this corner, I'm going to run for a while. And then I'm going to slow down. And I'm still going to look over my shoulder, because, look, a lot of time shit'll follow you around. Like, look, like it's like salesmen. They don't like to hear you say no. So look, sometimes you gotta say no with some nonverbal communication as well. Like, the fact that your presence is absent from the situation is a nonverbal communication. It's like, no, I don't want nothing to do with that. I'm straight. I'm good. And this is always awesome. But sometimes if someone tries to make you do something by force, if you can't evade, then sometimes you do have to do something, or you got to let them use their energy on themselves, and then you evasively disengage, basically. So there's a whole lot of disengagement, and in my particular method, but it doesn't mean it's non-action, inaction. It's actually just making an action. And there's a lot of ways, man, that it's like, here's the thing: if you chase someone down, you never know, you might be led into the trap. So look, there's another side of this evasiveness. Is it really evasiveness? Because I'm even taught, from sparring or fighting, it's like being like the tide. You roll in and then you roll out to roll back in again. It's like sometimes when you flee, it looks like you're fleeing, but you're not. It's like the tide going out, but look, it's coming back again. People don't, this is when I'm thinking on these real tactics. I'm really thinking on real tactics. I've studied this stuff, and enough of it's in my brain rolling around where it's like, kind of makes sense, and it's applicable in so many different situations. That's why I emphasize on that sometimes, because it's applicable in all these different situations if you just know how to apply it. And if it truly is the real, it can apply to everything like that, because it's the real. So this there's times to communicate without communicating. Like I was saying about chess. You play chess with the opponent and you don't say anything. You just watch the pieces, and it's communication. It's like sometimes the less you have to say, the better, because I mean, words and ideas and lies and the truth. This stuff is all powerful. So uh, if you just can communicate it and convey it with the least amount of energy, sometimes it makes the maximum amount of effect. Is what I'm saying. So even the art of fighting without fighting, which everyone should practice that, because I mean, there'd be a lot less. There'd be so many less situations that go crazy and get out of hand and result in deaths and destruction and corruption and tears and fears and all that. So even communication too. I mean, there's an old saying: if you ain't got something nice to say, don't say it at all. Uh, and even what you think about, try not to think bad about every single thing. I mean, there's enough bad to think about it anyway, so no reason to imagine evils or overemphasize on these little evils. You know what I'm saying? That then miss the big, the big maneuver that's going on. You know, because it's always safe to just assume it's a magician's act, because most of the time it is.